Hello and welcome to Work Like a Girl, where we feature interesting women doing interesting work. My name is Angela Champ, and today I'm speaking with Teddy Wiegand, who is a Blue Seal journeyman parts person and currently works as a process control specialist. Hello, Teddy.
Hello, good morning.
Welcome. So I know what a Red Seal journeyman is, but tell me what a Blue Seal journeyman is.
So a Red Seal, which is a ticket that I have as well on top of that, is where it allows us to work anywhere in Canada. But a Blue Seal means that I am qualified to be looked at or hired in a management position, and I've taken a minimum requirement within the province of Alberta of 180 hours of business courses at a university level.
That is really good to know. I'm not sure that a lot of people know that, because sometimes people don't want to go into the trades because they aspire to go into a management stream. And what I think I heard you say is that you can be in the trades, work and get some experience, but then pursue that so that you have a Blue Seal where you can still get into management and attain a university designation from your work experience. Is that right?
Absolutely. Just because that you have a trade ticket or you got your completion in your third or fourth year doesn't mean that's where your education ends. You can keep going, you can get your Blue Seal, or you can take that further and look up within schools like NAIT and SAIT offer programs where you can go and sit down with their deans of education and ask them questions, and they'll give you kind of a explanation on where you could enter into a degree program after, I believe it's a minimum 10 years experience in the trade, and they'll then let you enter in at a third year level of a university program to get, say, a Bachelor of Business or Business Administration or anything like-minded like that.
No, that is excellent, and I don't think a lot of people know that. So tell me, what's your role like? What do you do? What is a typical day or a typical week, if there is such a thing?
Well, once upon a time, my typical role was managing a warehouse in the parts department and helping mechanics with their day as they ordered parts for repairs, and organizing warehousing staff and materials in and materials out. But then a year ago, I got lucky and got a promotion that lets me go and tour around facilities within Canada for the company that I work for and see how their warehouses work, see how their equipment maintenance facilities work, and kind of give them suggestions on how they can improve business, make things a little bit more ergonomic, easier to do,
Okay.
and then help them implement those processes in place. And then the last thing that we do now is bring in another warehousing software or computer program, train on the computer program once the business processes are in place, and support as they work their way through their new material.
That is really good. And is that part of the Lean Six Sigma Green Belt that you have?
That is part of it. It was a company designated program that they called 6S or Success. It's very similar along the lines of the Six Sigma and the Lean Six material, and it's basically trying to make businesses as productive as possible and as ergonomic as possible, so that there's a standardized way of doing things across all of our companies across North America eventually.
All right. So how did you get into this field?
Well, I started in construction one summer, just kind of working in the shop, changing oil, running around on a lube truck. I decided I liked that a lot. It was good money. I didn't really want to go back to university if I was going to get a decent paycheck during the summer. So I thought, well, I'll stick with this. I'll go for heavy equipment. So I actually took my heavy equipment for a number of years. But when I had my daughter, realized that the hours at the time of the Alberta boom weren't really helpful in family life. So I switched over to the parts trade because it had a lot of the diagnostics. It had the same material, the same understanding of the education I had already taken, but I didn't have to do the same hours. And I got a little bit cleaner in the process. However, when I did take this job, I like to tell kind of a little story where I talked to the project manager and asked, could you explain to me what kind of an outfit I need to wear for this? And he goes, what do you mean? It's business casual. And I said, yes. But I wear coveralls for 5 days of the week, and I don't really need to pick my outfits. They're the same kind of pink and red every day. If you could just kind of give me an explanation, if it's no jeans, no t-shirts, that would be great. So I ended up hiring a personal shopper for the day to kind of help set me up in my wardrobe, because whatever we were wearing in maintenance shops wasn't going to suit the business process.
That's really interesting, and stuff we don't think about.
No.
I mean, not just preparing them from an education, but even just what are the expectations or the culture or the dress code?
Yeah, how are you presenting yourself? What kind of an image and impression do you want to give to someone right off the bat, especially when you're coming into their business and you're their first point of contact?
That's true. Yeah, that's very good. So what do you like best about your role, and what would you change if you could?
The travel's fun and meeting new people. I like the opportunity to be able to come into different businesses, see how they work. Not only does it allow me an opportunity to help them get better, but I get to see that there's more than one way to do something. And maybe later on down the road, as I go to other companies and other facilities, I go, hey, you know, in BC I learned something cool here. Maybe it'll work for this situation and it'll improve it a little bit better than my initial idea. I like maintaining those relationships as well too, because it is important to make sure that the things that we put into place are good practices and that they're actually beneficial to somebody. A lot of times we can implement something and tell them that, you know, you have to do this, but we need to make sure that we're invested in the business and in the people, because that gives them success to maintain it. If we don't maintain it, then it's just basically for show.
Right.
And unfortunately not for the end outcome that we want.
Speaking of maintaining it, do you have to do anything yearly, any training or courses in order to maintain your Blue Seal designation?
No, I do not. Once I hit the minimum requirement of hours, I can send in my transcript to apprenticeship and industry training, and then they will certify that against my ticket. So you don't have to have your red seal to get your blue seal.
Okay.
You just have to have your completion ticket within the province of Alberta. That being said, though, just because you've completed education, and I've worked with a couple apprentices on this, don't use it as your reason to stop. As soon as we stop, the world can pass us by pretty quickly. So
true.
Get involved in committees, get involved in different levels of education, try another course. There's lots of continuing education you can take on weekends. I end up taking project management and operations management in terms of assembly line on evenings and weekends for about a year, and it helped expand my horizons and I think give me the opportunity I have right now.
That's excellent. So Teddy, what advice would you have for other people who might be interested in a career in the trades?
Go check out the schools. Go check out things like Skills Alberta.
Okay.
Happens in May. It's about 3 days long at Northlands here in Edmonton.
Okay.
And they give you try a trade options. There's lots of different people to talk to. If you know somebody that's working in the industry, get contact information from them, ask them a couple questions. It doesn't hurt to come see what it's like and talk to someone that's in that capacity. Plus, if you end up getting engaged or hired at one of these facilities, it gives you an opportunity to have a mentor, which is really important as you're going forward in your career. When you do get into those positions, though, I think it's important, and I ask that everybody take an opportunity to kind of turn around and see where they've come from, and also see if there's any way that they themselves can provide that opportunity to someone else. There's so many times that we hoard the information to ourselves and the opportunity to ourselves, but I think now we're at a point where women in particular can turn around and lend a helping hand and help pull somebody else up to the same
And in a way
standard.
pay it forward.
Exactly.
That's excellent. That's great advice. So that's great advice for other people. What advice would you give to 15-year-old Teddy?
Well, seeing as we're in October, the first one would be don't shave your head just before winter. Mom will eventually forgive you, but it gets really cold. So that would be the first one. Don't worry, it grows back.
There might be pictures
And
somewhere.
there are a few pictures. I don't know if they'll ever surface again, though.
I have to say that wasn't quite the advice I was expecting, but that's really good advice.
I like the phrase or the saying, either if you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
So true. Yeah.
And so the best thing would be just think you can and roll with it and see what happens. Don't stop, keep trying. And in the end, see what you can do for others within that process.
So my last question for you is, do you have any favorite nonfiction books that you'd like to gift or recommend to people?
Well, I have two. And the first one is because I have a 9-year-old, so it's called Goodnight Stories for Rebel Girls. It's very similar to books like 50 Top Women in Science, and they've got a great illustration and then just kind of a short biography on what they did, how they achieved it, and what it represents to other people.
I love it.
And then the second book I really like to recommend people is called With the Old Breed. It's a story of a gentleman named Eugene Sledge from World War II in the Japanese Pacific Theater. And I like it because it kind of gives everybody an opportunity to understand that what you see in face value of a person isn't necessarily what their story is and what's going on behind the scenes.
Really good recommendations. Thank you very much. We'll have the books posted on our website, which is worklikeagirl.ca. And this has been Work Like a Girl. Thank you for joining us.